Keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus dan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tunku Ampuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus, Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir, Canselor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tunku Ampuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus, Tuanku Aisyah Rohani binti Almarhum Tunku Besar Mahmud, ampun Tuanku, beribu-ribu ampun, sembah patik mohon diampun. Patik bagi pihak pengurusan tertinggi dan warga Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia menjunjung setinggi-tinggi kasih atas sudi perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua berangkat mencemaduli menghadiri syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali kedua pada pagi ini. Sesungguhnya, keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua merupakan suatu penghormatan kepada seluruh warga Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Ampun Tuanku. Patik seterusnya memohon limpah berkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku untuk patik meneruskan atur majlis serta mengalu-alukan hadirin sekalian. Ampun Tuanku.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Yang amat mulia Tunku Ali Ridauddin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz, Tunku Besar Seri Menanti. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Seri Dr. Ibrahim Saad, Pengerusi Lembaga Pengarah Universiti. Yang amat mulia Tunku Zain Al-Abidin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan, Pengucap Utama Diraja. Yang berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Seri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali, Naib Chancellor UKM, dan yang berbahagia Puan Sri Datin Sri Zarina Mahmud. Yang mulia kerabat-kerabat diraja, yang berbahagia ahli-ahli Lembaga Pengarah Universiti, tuan yang terutama duta-duta, div-div kehormat, yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Imran Ho Abdullah, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Hal Ehwal Jaringan Industri dan Masyarakat, merangkap pengerusi Jawatan Kuasa Induk Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz, dan yang berbahagia Datin, Timbalan-timbalan Naib Chancellor, para pegawai pengurusan utama dan pegawai kanan UKM, serta tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian. Syukur kita kehadrat Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kerana dengan izinnya kita semua dapat hadir di syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali yang kedua yang akan disampaikan oleh yang berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan sebentar nanti. Majlis mengambil kesempatan untuk mengalu-alukan kehadiran div-div kehormat di majlis yang permai ini.
Bagi memberkati majlis pada pagi ini, majlis mempersilakan Dr. Abdul Rahman Mahmud, Pengarah Pusat Islam Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia untuk memimpin bacaan doa. Dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi la yansa man zakarah wa la yukhayyibu man da'ah ولا يقطع رجاء من رجاه. الحمد لله الذي من توكل عليه كفاه ومن وثق عليه لم يكله إلى أحد سواه. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق والناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وصحبه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا Rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Ya Allah, Engkau pemilik sekalian alam, yang bagimu jua segala kebesaran dan kekuasaan. Kehadratmu puji dan syukur kami rafa'kan. Dengan iradahmu dan limpah keizinan, Majlis Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz yang bersejarah ini berjaya dilangsungkan. Allahumma ya Hannanu ya Mannan, kepadamu segala kesyukuran kami sembahkan atas keberkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir, Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, dan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tunku Ampuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Aisyah Rohani binti Almarhum Tunku Besar Mahmud. Engkau limpahilah rahmat dan keampunanmu kepada duli-duli tuanku dan putera-putera yang mulia. Kurniakanlah taufik dan inayah-Mu kepada pimpinan tertinggi Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia dan warganya dan seluruh hamba-hamba-Mu yang turut serta di dalam majlis yang mulia ini. Ya Allah, jadikanlah negara Malaysia sebagai negara yang maju dan makmur, yang dengan rakyat yang teguh bersatu padu. Hindarilah negara kami dari segala fitnah yang memecah belahkan kami dan bala bencana yang memusnahkan segala kemajuan yang dibina. Allahumma wansurna ma'asyiral ummatil islamiyah wahdina wasaddidna khairal bariyah. Allahumma kun lana wa lihadzal biladi hafizan min jami'il balaya ودافعا عنا وعنهم جميع الرزايا وانصرنا على الأعداء والحساد واحلل غضبك ونقمتك على البغي والفساد اللهم واحرس بعينك التي لا تنام واكنف بكنفك وركنك الذي لا يرام اللهم ارمي راية الإسلام منشورة ومواطن الدين والحق معمورة اللهم اختم لنا بخاتمة السعادة واجعلنا من الذين لهم الحسنى وزيادة بجاه سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ذي الشفاعة وعلى آله وصحبه ذوي السعادة وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين تقبل الله منكم.
Majlis merakamkan ucapan terima kasih atas bacaan doa sebentar tadi. Meneruskan atur cara, sama-sama kita saksikan tayangan multimedia sempena Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali kedua ini. Kita saksikan bersama.
Ampun Tuanku, titah Duli Yang Maha Mulia yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus, Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir, Tuanku Canselor. Untuk itu, majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali untuk menyembah sila dan memohon perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Canselor untuk menyampaikan titah sempena Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz. Majlis dengan hormat takzimnya mempersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Syukur to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessing. We're here this morning for the second Canselor Tuanku Muhriz lecture. UKM, as the national university, is always striving to sustain its role as the repository and conduit of knowledge, as well as the generation of new ideas for the socio-economic development of society. Contributions of UKM are not limited to solving problems locally, but have also been referred to regionally and globally. The objective of this lecture series is to achieve a pinnacle of scholarship through intellectual discourse from sharing of ideas and experiences of distinguished luminaries. It is our intention that these lectures be a platform to provide concrete solutions towards issues in public affairs, governance, integrity, and law. In 2016, Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Akhtar, the former governor of Bank Negara, delivered the inaugural Canselor Tuanku Muhriz lecture entitled Building Sustainable Institutions, Good Governance Matters. I am very pleased that Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan, a respected leader from Thailand and a former Secretary General of ASEAN, has accepted UKM's invitation to deliver this year's lecture, which he has entitled Good Governance, Challenges for the ASEAN Community. Good governance should be the pillar of administration upon which rests the structure, process, and procedures defining the rights of all stakeholders. It will ensure integrity, accountability, and transparency. These are much needed values in Malaysia today. I look forward to hearing Tan Sri Dr. Surin's experience and insights on the subject based on his extensive experience. I hope that this lecture series will continue to champion various issues and enrich multiple corpus of knowledge. It is also my hope that this sharing of knowledge by distinguished figures and scholars shall largely and positively benefit the livelihood of society in Malaysia. I urge that this lecture series be given wide dissemination to the media and online so that many can be aware of our efforts. In concluding, I wish to congratulate UKM Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dr. Noor Azlan Ghazali, on recently being awarded the Panglima Setiausaha Mahkota, which carries the title Tan Sri. I also congratulate Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Datuk Noor Aziah Muhammad Awal, on being awarded the Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah for Negeri Sembilan for the year 1439 Hijri. She's the first woman to have been selected for this award in Negeri Sembilan. 5 years ago, she was appointed a member of Majlis Ugama Islam Negeri Sembilan and remains the only woman to have been appointed to this position. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Menjunjung kasih Tuanku, majlis pada pagi ini diteruskan dengan pidato pengenalan pengucap tama diraja Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz. Untuk itu, majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali, Naib Chancellor UKM, untuk mengadap dan memohon perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Chancellor bagi menyampaikan pidato pengenalan pengucap tama diraja. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir, Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tunku Ampuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Aisyah Rohani binti Almarhum Tengku Besar Mahmud. Ampun Tuanku, beribu-ribu ampun, sembah patik mohon diampun. Patik bagi pihak pengurusan tertinggi dan warga UKM menjunjung setinggi-tinggi kasih atas sudi perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua berangkat mencemar Duli ke Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali kedua ini. Sesungguhnya, keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua merupakan suatu penghormatan yang tinggi buat patik serta seluruh warga Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Siri Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz ini adalah melambangkan kemuncak penghormatan tertinggi Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia atas naungan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Chancellor kepada UKM dalam melestarikan kesarjanaan untuk manfaat umum dan warga universiti. Ampun Tuanku, patik seterusnya memohon limpah perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku untuk patik mengalu-alukan hadirin sekalian dan meneruskan ucapan patik dalam bahasa Inggeris. Ampun Tuanku. Yang Amat Mulia Tunku Besar Seri Menanti, Tunku Ali Ridauddin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Ibrahim Saad, Pengurusi Lembaga Pengarah Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, Yang Amat Mulia Tunku Zain Al-Abidin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuan, Pengucap Tama Diraja, Yang Mulia kerabat-kerabat diraja, Yang Berbahagia ahli-ahli Lembaga Pengarah Universiti, Excellencies Ambassadors, Div-Div Kehormat, Timbalan-Timbalan Naib Chancellor, para pegawai pengurusan utama dan pegawai kanan UKM, serta tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian. Thank you for being here today for the Chancellor Tuanku Muhriz lecture. This is the second lecture since its inception in 2016, befitting the area of interest of the Chancellor, on whose patronage this lecture series is hosted. The focus of the lecture series is on good governance in public and corporate affairs. Last year, we had the privilege to have with us Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Zeti Akhtar Aziz, who delivered a lecture on building sustainable institutions, good governance matters. As we celebrate ASEAN's 50th anniversary this year, it is fitting that this second Chancellor Tuanku Muhriz lecture focuses on governance in ASEAN. And no one is better placed to deliver the lecture on good governance, challenges for the ASEAN community, than the person who helped shape the ASEAN of today. We are blessed, therefore, to have with us a highly respected individual not only in ASEAN but throughout the world. He has been conferred 13 honorary doctorate degrees by various universities, including an honorary doctorate in international relations by University Kebangsaan Malaysia in 2012. Welcome, Tan Sri Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, the former Thai Foreign Minister and Secretary General of ASEAN. Thank you very much, Tan Sri, for accepting our invitation to address us this morning. Tan Sri Surin was born in the southern province of Nakhon Si Thammarat, whose very name in Sanskrit, Nagara Sri Dharma Raja, evokes the golden era of maritime voyage that connected Southeast Asia with the rest of Asia and the Arab world. Young Surin Pitsuwan received his tertiary education at Thammasat University, Thailand, and Claremont Men's College, California. His academic excellence earned him scholarship from the Winston S. Churchill Association and Rockefeller Foundation to pursue his master and PhD degrees at the Harvard University. He taught at Thammasat University from 1978 to 1986, rising to the position of full professor before joining politics. Indeed, a more challenging career. He was first elected to the Thai Parliament from his hometown, Nakhon Si Thammarat, in 1986. From then, he went on to serve 8 parliamentary terms with distinction and served as the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand. Both as Foreign Minister of Thailand and in ASEAN, Tan Sri Surin aggressively pursued innovative solutions to the region's complex translational problems. He provided ASEAN with a governance paradigm that continues today. He challenged ASEAN to look beyond its traditional notion of non-intervention and came up with a practical idea of flexible engagement to motivate ASEAN to act collectively on problems in any of its member states, especially if those threatened regional and international security. Not surprisingly, all ASEAN member states readily and enthusiastically endorsed Tan Sri Surin as the new Secretary General of ASEAN from 2008 to 2012. As its Secretary General, he admirably discharged his jobs of maintaining ASEAN as a cohesive regional community while reaching out to its neighbors. He upholds ASEAN's image as the avant-garde of a new brand of cosmopolitan regionalism. During his tenure too, Tan Sri Surin helped ASEAN set up its own Human Rights Commission and implement the ASEAN Charter. The latter prepared the region for its eventual transformation in 2015 as the ASEAN Community. An editorial on 28 December 2002 of the Jakarta Post lauded Tan Sri Surin as the most effective of the 12 Secretary Generals in the grouping's history. Tan Sri Dr. Surin has served on the Board of Trustees of the Asia Foundation and was an advisor to the International Commission on State Sovereignty and Humanitarian Intervention. The latter came up with the notion of responsibility to protect, an idea that United Nations adopted in 2005. Tan Sri Surin has never ceased championing across the world the universal values of democracy, sustainable development, and human security, a Herculean task that once earned him the appellation, the Voice of Asia. Recently, he championed the cause of the Rohingya by convening a session in the United Nations comprising of Nobel Peace Laureates. A devout Muslim who is widely praised for his effort to promote a dialogue of civilizations and integrity, Tan Sri Surin is exactly the kind of a person that the world needs today, even as it confronts extremism and other threats of security. Here, Tan Sri Surin leads not just in word, but also in deed. For example, he has nurtured faithfully a school founded 75 years ago by his grandfather in his home province, better known as Pondok Bantan. That school has become a model for providing quality, integrated education to Muslim students, thereby helping to bridge the gap between Islam and modernity. Therefore, with all due honor, I now invite Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. Surin Pitsuwan to deliver his lecture on good governance, challenges for the ASEAN community. Ampun Tuanku, sekian sahaja sembah ucapan patik. Patik sekali lagi bagi pihak warga UKM menjunjung setinggi-tinggi kasih atas sudi perkenan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua berangkat mencemar duli ke Syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz. Sesungguhnya, keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua menjadi suatu penghormatan tertinggi buat patik sekalian. Patik sekalian mendoakan semoga Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala melanjutkan usia Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua serta putra-putra di dalam keadaan sihat walafiat dan kekal memerintah di atas tahta kerajaan Negeri Sembilan dengan penuh keadilan dan kebijaksanaan. Menjunjung kasih Tuanku, sekian wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Para hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, seterusnya majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. Surin Pitsuwan untuk menyampaikan syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz, Good Governance, Challenges for the ASEAN Community. Dengan segala hormatnya, dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir, Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Menghadap ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Ampun Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus Tuanku Aisyah Rohan binti Almarhum Tuanku Besar Mahmud. Ampun Tuanku, beribu ampun. Sembah patik mohon diampun. Patik menyunjung setinggi-tinggi kasih atas sudi perkanan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku berdua berangkat menawar Duli ke Syarah Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali kedua ini yang akan disampaikan oleh patik bertajuk Good Governance, Challenges for ASEAN Community. Sesungguhnya syarah ini merupakan suatu penghormatan yang tinggi buat Patek. Ampun Tuanku, Patek seterusnya memohon limpah perkanan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku untuk Patek alukan hadirin sekalian dan meneruskan ucapan Patek dalam bahasa Inggris. Yang amat mulia Tuanku Besar Seri Metanti, Tuanku Ali Ridauddin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz, yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Ibrahim Saad, Chairman Board of Directors Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, yang amat mulia Tuanku Zain Al-Abidin Ibni Tuanku Muhriz, yang berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali, Vice Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, dan yang berbahagia Puan Si Datin Sri Zarina Mahmud. Distinguished guests, senior officers of Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen. When the Vice Chancellor and the Deputy Vice Chancellor came to see me in Bangkok about 2 months ago, that the occasion would be big. I didn't expect it to be this big. It is a great honor to return to this very room to meet with you once again after I was bestowed by Duli Yang Maha Mulia back in 2012 when I was still in the office. An honorary degree in international relations. At that moment, I thought I had the best of both worlds. A postdoc education and an honorary degree from Universiti Kebangsaan. The lecture today is going to be contextualized in my own journey from the margin of the society in southern Thailand, from the periphery of Thai politics, all the way to Harvard University, to Foreign Minister of Thailand, to Secretary General of ASEAN, and to an honorary of doctorate degree from the National University of Malaysia. Last year, Tan Sri Zeti spoke about building institutions and the importance of governance, of good governance. Actually, this year is a sequence to her lecture. And I understand that Universiti Kebangsaan is a progressive university, adopting new principles, new ways, new vision. And in this case, Tan Sri Zeti led the way. I follow lady first. It is fitting for me to congratulate the university under the leadership, the inspiration of Duli Yang Maha Mulia, that in less than 50 years, the National University of Malaysia has become number 16th in the ranking of universities worldwide under 50. That's a great honor. Congratulations. And from the ranking of 302 in the year 1617, jumped 72 points to become number 230 for the year 17 and 18. Alhamdulillah. And you are in the top 1% of the world, and you are only 47 years old, and you are number 5 in all ASEAN. I can imagine in the next few years when you celebrate your 60th anniversary, you would be number 1 in ASEAN, inshallah. Let me begin my sharah, my lecture, by saying that ASEAN was born 50 years ago, on the 8th of August, 1967, when Tun Abdul Razak represented Malaysia as Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Defense at the time. Those 5 men had the concern of the security of the nation, nation building, economic development, in order to attract foreign investments into the region, into their countries. It was state building that they were concerned about. And they were very successful in attracting foreign investment, trade, export, tourism. They were able to catapult economies considered to be developing or backward into emerging into now the middle class, the bright spot on the world landscape, performing very, very well in the heart of the new century of Asia Pacific. But here is the problem. The modality of development that our leaders adopted in the beginning were modalities of dependency, attracting foreign investment from outside, bringing technology from outside, bringing capital from outside, bringing management from outside, and in the end produce for outside market. We were providing stability, security, or what the World Bank call, or what the World Economic Forum call, stability of policy. And we were providing cheap labor, we were providing abundant resources. Well, on that modality, other countries can follow very easily. When China opened, when India opened, they caught up very, very quickly and fast. And the ASEAN countries are now finding themselves with a lot of challenges. And a lot has to do with governance, a lot has to do with domestic governance, a lot has to do with the lack of good governance what the Vice Chancellor said, transparency, accountability, participation, check and balance, efficiency. These are the things that have been missing in many, if not all, of the member states of ASEAN. So what we need to do is to look into each and every country, every member state, that how much participation do we have? How much accountability do we have? How much transparency we can guarantee? And how much monitoring and check and balance we could institute into the system? When the World Bank was asking for it, when the IMF has imposed on it, when the ADB is asking for all of us to be more transparent, more efficient, more participatory, and definitely more inclusive. The end result is the fact that our societies have become less equal. Many of our societies have become divided. And that gap between the rich and the poor, the inequality, the inequity among us has been widened. And you all know what happened when that gap is widened. You have tension, you have confrontation, you have social conflicts, you have political violence spilling over on to the public space, on to the streets. Then you couldn't provide continuity, you couldn't provide security, you couldn't provide policy continuity that foreign investors would expect, that had characterized all the countries of ASEAN, particularly the old members, that have propelled us to success, to attract them over, because we couldn't provide stability, continuity, as we used to. So they look all elsewhere. They look to China, they look to India, they look to Africa. We can't blame them. So what we need to look very, very carefully in every member state is the fact that we need to go back and look at the aspiration of our founding fathers, Tun Razak included. When in the Declaration of 1967, Bangkok, 8th of August, they said this organization shall represent the collective will of the people of Southeast Asia, bound together in goodwill, in sacrifices, in the pursuit of the fruits of the blessings of freedom, of peace, of prosperity for the peoples and for their posterity, future generation. If you look at that phrase, which is the last phrase of the Bangkok Declaration establishing ASEAN, you know that in the minds of those great leaders of ours, they were thinking about the full participation of people. They were thinking about effective governance. They were thinking about participation. They were thinking about transparency, check and balance, and accountability. My experience for 5 years at ASEAN has confirmed one thing, that this community has not brought the idea of ASEAN down to the people. This community has not allowed people to participate. The message of ASEAN has never been part of the language of the political campaign for those countries, those member states who have elections. So how do you create that identity? How do you create that sense of belonging? How do you create that sense of ownership of this space called ASEAN? And yet, we have been able to create a new middle class. We have been able to accumulate wealth. We have been able to create a market for luxury goods. If you talk to those companies produce luxury goods, whether it's automobiles, whether it's sport goods, whether it's all luxury goods. Southeast Asia, East Asia are now the best market for luxury of everything, including services. But the wealth and the middle class themselves, I'm speaking like a Pondok student now. I'm speaking like people who came from the margin, people who have seen injustice, people who have seen lack of good governance, people who have seen lack of space for us to participate. The middle class have become part of the power structure to maintain the traditional power structure, rather than to become a force of change, force of opening up, force of democratization, force of participation, like the middle class in Europe, like the middle class in America. Well, they used to be anyway. Because they were part of the struggle to open up the space. When Industrial Revolution came, when economic development came after the Second World War, they were part of the social dialogue, negotiating for larger, bigger space for people who are at the bottom rung of the society. Our middle class has never been. Our middle class just plugged in to the wealth that came with globalization, with corporations, with technology, with capital, and they were just transferring factories to us. And we became middle class without much of the mindset changing that this will have to be our mission together in order to open up new space for more people, becoming more inclusive. So in every society in ASEAN, you have rich people becoming richer, you have poor people becoming poorer, and we don't have the leadership to bring this message to the entire spectrum of the population, that if we don't bridge this gap, we are not going to last long into the future when the competition is very fierce. It was John F. Kennedy who said, "A house divided by itself cannot stand. A society rich and poor, very rich and very poor, cannot stand in the face of competition." And competition is rising among us, around us, everywhere. So, here in Malaysia, there's a need for that re-examination and rethinking of that middle class. Opportunities, wealth, power should not be just concentrated around network of people. It will have to be based on merit, it will have to be based on ability, it will have to be based on true competition, so that you can have the best out into the open, so that you can get the best from everyone for the best of the society. In the Quran, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not expect from any soul, any being, any individual, more than the capacity that he or she has. Well, do we have full capacity from everyone? Are we allowing full capacity to come out on the table for everyone? Are we harnessing the best and the potentiality of everyone? Any society that does not allow any one member, fulfill his own potentiality, that society is still not successful. This is Amartya Sen's concept of development. Development is freedom. You have that free space in order to develop to your own full potentiality. And I think this is a challenge for everyone in ASEAN. Every state in ASEAN. And I have this to say. Every member state that has brought ASEAN to where we are, middle class, upper middle class, dynamic, exporting, attractive, growing, bright spot. Every member state got us here with the leaders who were not quite open for full participation. Look down to Indonesia, Suharto. Look down to Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. I'll skip Malaysia. Look up to Thailand, General Prem Tinsulanon. Look to the Philippines, Marcos. I think you would describe them less than democratic. But they were able to bring us to this point, where people around the world are envious of us. I'm going to Amman next week in order to share the experiences of ASEAN and of Southeast Asia with those countries in MENA, Middle East and North Africa. As much problem as we have, they still think we are ahead of them. Alhamdulillah. And they want to know how we manage our differences. We have a lot. How we manage our economic development. We have done quite well. And how we manage peace and security among us. We still have a lot of problems. I'll get to that later. But we are ahead of them. So they are looking at us with a sense of awe and envy. But we have a long way to go yet. We have things to do. We have to look at our bureaucracy. It's too centralized, too suffocating, and too stifling. There was a study that the bigger government allows less development and less distribution of wealth, not the other way around. So we have to look at the centralized bureaucracy of all of us. Let me give you the example of Thailand, because nobody can accuse me of being interfering. Because I've had experiences there, I've had experience outside looking in. The Thai bureaucracy is extremely centralized. And it was centralized because Rama V wanted, about 150 years ago, to save Thailand from the British and the French. He had to centralize the bureaucracy. So every position is appointed from Bangkok. Well, that bureaucracy is still with us. When the periphery has grown, when the people have been educated, when wealth have been accumulated outside, when they want space for themselves. But yet, that centralized bureaucracy is still suffocating. You need redistribution. You need decentralization. You need to share the power and the authority from inside out to the periphery. Administration of justice, also centralized. Management of the economy, also decisions are made in the center. Sharing of the fruits of development, also made in Bangkok. The situation and the conditions have grown far beyond the structure that had been instituted and still lingering on. Now, they are talking about reform, reform, reform. In other countries, other member states, it's the same thing. And let me just sum up this part by saying that every member state of ASEAN that has brought ASEAN to where we are, envy of the world, is in need of some reform, is in need of some flexibility, is in need of some decentralization of power. Malaysia is a federal state, so you have a different system. Indonesia has gone in that direction. Many countries in ASEAN still centralized. So we are middle class. My next message. We are middle class. Some of us are upper middle class. Some of us are lower middle class. A lot of us are middle class. Middle class, actually, it's a rather loose concept. If you have $3,000 per head per year, per capita, you're already middle class, lower. You go all the way up to 15, and it keeps moving, that ceiling. When you hit 15, you are higher income countries. The modality that we have set in order to develop our countries before ASEAN, in the framework of ASEAN, in the framework of the community, as I said earlier, we attracted investment from outside. Everything is external. We provide cheap labor, we provide abundant resources, natural. But the next challenge is what we need in order to get over that hump. Malaysia is very lucky. Malaysia is either just above the middle income level or already beyond the middle income level. Congratulations. But others are still Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, Myanmar, Vietnam, the old countries of ASEAN. So what do we need in order to get over that hump? From middle income to high income, we need to invest in education, we need to invest in technology, we need to invest in science, we need to invest in innovation. And that will not come unless we open up the space for people to pursue their excellence within the framework and institutions of excellence like University Kebangsaan. In your science, in your technology, in your new science, in your information science, we need to bring in the best from the countryside into the center. I said I was going to contextualize my lecture today in the framework of my own journey, my own experience. I was born at the foothill of southern Thailand. Born in a pondok, educated in a pondok, went to a Buddhist temple school without shoes, bike 20 kilometers to school in the city, and then got on to university in Bangkok. The only reason I got the opportunity to get out of that cocoon of poverty and everything else was that people who consider to select students for fellowship, for scholarship, look in terms of relativity. If this boy were to be in Bangkok, go to school in an air-conditioned car, whose father is a university professor, whose mother is a medical doctor, he would have done better than many in Bangkok. So there was a consideration of geographical distribution. Looking for, in Thailand we call, a white elephant out there in the villages. Without an open system, without an open space, without participation, without bringing in everybody onto the space of education, of opportunity, we are not going to get the best science, the best technology, the best innovation. And we have to invest in them. Thailand now is investing more in research, in innovation. Malaysia is spending less per your GDP. We can't stop here. So we have to somehow get out of this, what the World Bank call the middle income trap. You can't go further than this unless you have a better educated workforce, unless you have all the people as part of the journey, unless you have science, you have technology, you have innovation. You do it yourself rather than you borrow from others. I see the ambassador of Japan here. Japan has been with us from the beginning of the ASEAN journey. But it's pretty much on that modality. Relocation of factory, transfer to us the technology, and bring us the good management, in the end export from ASEAN. From now on, I know the Japanese government is thinking, you have to do it on your own and we will help you. So companies and corporations in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Indonesia will have to invest more, government will have to pay more, and we have to somehow concentrate on the quality of our education and the development of our human resources. Without that, we are not going to get out of this middle income trap. We're going to be stuck. So we need a reform in our education. We need somehow to put in an elements of good governance, good thinking, good vision. And as I said, University Kebangsaan has the right to be proud of the fact that you have traveled very quick, very fast. Surpass many other universities, under 50, surpass many universities in ASEAN, and you are joining that club around the world, the top 1% of the world. That means you can do it. That means you are on the right course. That means you are in the right direction. I like to see our part of the world opening up more, inviting more people. Bureaucratic stifling, centralization being diffused, being relaxed, education opportunities given out, and make sure that every step of the way, the best and the excellent shall be given the opportunity, not through patronage, which is not good governance, not through connections, which is not good governance, not through cronyism, which is not good governance, not through just appointment because you are close to the center of power. That is not going to take us anywhere. So each and every member state is in need of reform, in need of instituting good governance into our system. Now the ASEAN community. It was established in 1967, 50 years old. And it holds this principle of non-interference very, very strongly. ASEAN too needs some form of good governance into its deliberation, into its community building. Because it doesn't make sense when you want to form a community and you said you want to live in isolation within that community. You want only the good parts of integration. You want larger market. You want more labor from neighboring countries. You want more resources from neighboring country. You want to export more. You want more natural resources from outside. But you want to live in isolation. Anything happens to your country, I'll leave it alone. Anything happens to my country, I'll ask you to stay away. That won't cut into the future. Also needs participation, also needs contribution, also needs accountability within this framework of a community. Because you have to have two-way traffic in the integration. You can benefit from your neighbors because of that community growing, but you are also exposed to the problems of your neighbors. And how can that principle of non-interference be held in the absolute? That don't touch, don't even make comment, don't even ask question. Mine is mine, yours is yours, we don't interfere. That is not a way for the future, for the community. So we have many problems among us. And somehow we have to live around this, get around this. Principle of non-interference. And then we have a lot of problems on our hand because we couldn't help each other, because we were not allowed to help each other. You know who broke the taboo on non-interference? Before that, to ask a question of what is happening in your own country is already interference. Don't ask. An unlikely person, Abdul Rahman Wahid, President of Indonesia, walked into a summit, sat down and said, I know you are all worried about Aceh. You don't have to ask questions, I'll tell you. I volunteer. When you volunteer, you are not interfering. And that has become the new tradition of ASEAN. You have to brief each other what's going on inside. Because it has implications on you. That's exactly what the Secretary General of the UN is saying now. The Rohingya issues have the potential of destabilizing the entire region. Aren't you surprised? Aren't you surprised, ladies and gentlemen, that elements of the Rohingyas have not been as extremist, as violent as they could have been after all these years? And can you imagine the security of the Malacca Straits? If extremist jihadist ideology takes hold in Western Myanmar, along the border of Bangladesh, the Malacca Straits, one of the most congested waterway in the world. Not only Indonesia, not only Malaysia, not only Thailand, not only Singapore, but Japan, China, and Korea, and the rest who need to transport their goods and raw materials and energy sources through the Malacca Strait is going to be affected. You can't be protected. It would be something similar to the waters of Somalia, East Africa, infested with violent elements, piracy. So you can't say that it is our internal affairs. You can't say that it is our domestic, sovereign affairs. Nobody else can interfere. I salute the position of the government of Malaysia on this one. Because it has implications on all of us. The other potential problem is ASEAN is half and half, Muslim and non-Muslim. And if the issue is not contained, it could divide the ASEAN community. It could derail the ASEAN experiment. It could destabilize the community. So we need some kind of better coordination among us, of better exchange among us, of better deliberation among us to arrive at a solution that would be best for the region. And there are other problems in the region. And ASEAN member states are still living in that mode of individual sovereign states. No outside, not even the ASEAN member states could get involved. But then we have sporadic conflicts and violence on our landscape. According to a statistic compiled by University of Uppsala in southern Sweden, this is the most violent landscape, believe it or not, at the level of local, individual, tribal, ethnic conflicts here on the ground of ASEAN. Well, we need to open up to each other. We need to respect the interests of others on the things that are very domestic to us, that are very internal to us. And ASEAN will have to adopt. This is for future generation. I have helped build ASEAN. The house has been built. The younger generation will have to move in. But for the next 50 years, ASEAN will have to think about how to arrive at a decision that would be implementable, that would be effective, that would require all of us to go in and help each other with trust, with confidence, with respect. And we have done it before. That's why it's extremely important to watch this human tragedy unfolding before our eyes. According to Professor Muhammad Yunus, by the end of the year, if nothing is done, 1 million will have been moved, migrated, or flee into Bangladesh. And the population is 1.5 million, 1.15 million. If 1 million moved out, it is ethnic cleansing. It is what the UN calls. It is the textbook of ethnic cleansing. And that is going to be a judgment, a verdict, a stigma of history on all of us now. in this generation at this age when we celebrate 50th anniversary ASEAN. ASEAN is extremely diverse. ASEAN doesn't want to synchronize or streamline or standardize because we are so diverse. There's no qualification to come into ASEAN except in Southeast Asia. That's it. So you have all forms of governance here. You have also all sorts of legal system here. You have linguistic differences. You have cultural differences. You have religious differences. So it's extremely diverse. The fact that we could stay together for the last 50 years is a miracle already. But to move on to the next 50 years and to keep the confidence and the focus and the attention and the admiration and the awe of the world on us is going to take more than just economic progress, economic development, which we have done very well, but we are beginning to slow down. Because of the reasons I have mentioned, there are competitors and competition out there. So we need a new form of governance within ASEAN. You go to a meeting, you commit, you come back, and you forgot to deliver. That seems to be the ASEAN way too. Tan Sri, Vice Chancellor, said, I was unanimously endorsed by the ASEAN leaders to become the first Secretary General under the Charter. I think after I got there, they felt sorry. Because to serve, you have to give it your best. That's how we led ASEAN member states to help restore law and order in Aceh. Because President Habibie said, come in large number, and if possible, take the leadership of the international force in East Timor. What he didn't say was, don't give it to Australia. Because of the colonial memory. And Australia knew this. That's why Thailand was invited in, the Philippines was invited in, Malaysia was invited in. Last night I had dinner with Tan Sri Syed Hamid. Same time we were talking about that. That's why Singapore went in, that's why Brunei went in. Some token medical mission, but Thailand and the Philippines and Malaysia sent in the most in order to cushion that anti-sentiment, anything putih, because of the colonial mentality or the anti-colonial mentality. So somehow we could organize our troops into East Timor. Myanmar is the same thing. Cyclone Nargis. 140,000 people perished overnight. Myanmar was under sanction. But the world wanted to go in and help. Myanmar said no. ASEAN was asked to help open up the humanitarian space to go in. So, there's a need for leadership. There's a need for tweaking of the principle of non-interference. There's a need for managing all these taboos in order to make ASEAN effective. And the whole thing is just good governance at the regional level. Without that, we are not going to go very far and hold the confidence and the respect and the trust and the high expectation of the world as we have had enjoyed in the past. I hope that some of these stories, some of these anecdotes, some of these ideas at the state level, at the member state level, at the regional level, at the community level, that we do need better governance. We do need a new social contract. Or if you want to say, a community contract. That going forward from here, we know that there are things that need to be reformed and to be instituted. And there's nothing outside of this concept of good governance. Because we have to have participation. Once you participate, you own the process. Once you own the process, you contribute to the process. You contribute to the process. You continue to monitor the process. You monitor the process. You institute the check and balance into the system so that the majority of the people can feel that they have this process under control in their name with their consent. That's the sum of good governance. So my presentation is just a sequel of Tan Sri Seti last year. She talked about building economic financial institutions in the region. And you need governance in there, good governance in there. I went down to the state level and I went up to the community level. It's just a sequel. And if you want to see ASEAN in the next 50 years, stable, prosperous, winning the trust, winning the confidence of the world, and continue to grow and get out of this middle income trap. We can't just sit on our laurels and say, this is enough. We have done it, we have made it. Much like your mission, Tan Sri Vice Chancellor, your mission that you have instilled in me since you gave me that honorary degree. And that vision and mission is to inspire the futures. More than just inspiring the future, to nurture the possibilities, the potentialities. Or in the Islamic language, the fitrah in every individual human being that was created, that was born. And God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we created you in the best of form. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم. We create human beings in the best possible forms. Insan, not just Muslims, not just mu'min, but insan. All humanity was created in the best possible form because we do have that potentiality in us to grow, to develop, to fulfill. But then if we don't, if we fail, if institutions fail, if National University of Malaya fail to provide the venues, the ways, the opportunities to maintain that ahsani taqweem, that best possible form, all of you would be reduced to a lower form. Summa radadnahu athfala safilin. So you inspire the future. That's my mission all along, inspire the younger generation. And reassure them and instill into them that they have a mission to do too, to fulfill their own potentiality. My message is every human being has the right to fulfill his or her own potentiality if we have the right governance for them. My message is institutions have the mission, have the capacity to help inspiring the future if we do it right. And you have your own good governance here. As Yang Maha Mulia said, not only here, academic excellence, but bring the excellence to the community outside. Not just Malaysia, you are immediate beneficiary, but the region, ASEAN, and yes, the entire humanity. Because if you are true to the faith, the inspiration, and this is something that we can share with the diversity of your society, every member of every ethnic group of your society. We are here representing or inheriting the legacy of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are here continuing that mission of being the blessings to all mankind. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We don't send you, Muhammad, for any other purpose except to be the blessings of all mankind. Not to be the source of conflict, not to be the reason of confrontation, not to be the initiator of violence, but be the blessings to all mankind. Tawakkal ala Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Majlis merakamkan ucapan terima kasih kepada Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan. Ampun Tuanku, sebagai tanda penghargaan kepada Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan, Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali, Naib Canselor, untuk menyembah sila memohon perkenan duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Canselor menyampaikan cenderamata penghargaan kepada Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. SURIN Pitsuwan.
Seterusnya, sebagai tanda penghargaan dan menjunjung kasih atas keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Canselor, Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Azlan Ghazali, Naib Canselor, untuk mempersembahkan cenda kenangan kepada Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tuanku Canselor. Majlis dengan hormat takzimnya mempersilakan. Menjunjung kasih Tuanku.
Dengan persembahan cendera kenangan itu tadi, maka sempurnalah syarahan Canselor Tuanku Muhriz kali kedua pada pagi ini.
Keberangkatan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus dan Duli Yang Maha Mulia Tunku Ampuan Besar Negeri Sembilan Darul Khusus meninggalkan Dewan.